week and everything has been going well for you, and I hope that your next week also goes well. So, what happened on Monday in St. Kitts and Nevis, one of our ferry boats sank. It was going from St. Kitts to Nevis and it didn't get that far, but it began to sink, and many people had to get life jackets. Everyone got one, and they had to swim and get on other boats or stuff like that to actually be saved from drowning. So it was really scary. My mom said that someone told her that she heard that what happened is that the boat was moving, and then they heard a big bang. So maybe something was wrong with the engine. So that's really crazy, and that happened at near the bayfront in St. Kitts. So in Barstow, St. Kitts. So that's one of the things that happened this week. I'm so happy that everyone made it out alive, and that's great. And actually, in St. Kitts and Nevis, a lot of years ago, the MV Christina sank in St. Kitts, and many people died, and everyone in St. Kitts knows about that story. And a few people were able to swim and be saved, but many other people died. And actually, my grandfather, his sister actually died on that day. And my aunt was telling me my other grandmother, she actually she had a dream that chickens were drowning, and she was telling her husband and children to be safe that day, and then that same day it sank, and basically the boat actually was overcrowded. So that's what happened. They put too many people on the boat and it sank. So the MV Christina, but that was not repeated on Monday, so that's great. And then I saw that poor Venezuela is still suffering. I saw that there was an 18-year-old footballer that died, and also a footballer's wife and children also died. It was extremely sad because the wife was young and the children were really young. And also, Jamaica had a moderate earthquake, and I was watching this episode of this family called Meet the Mitchells. One of them is a Jamaican singer artist called Wayne Marshall, is his stage name, and then Tammy Chin used to make music, but their real last name now is the Mitchells. So basically, their their nanny slash cook, she actually. Oh, hi Abigail, how are you doing? So yeah, Mitchell's the nanny slash cook was so afraid when Jamaica got their 4.1 earthquake, and it's probably because Venezuela got damaged that badly with their multiple 7.0 earthquakes. So she was really shaken up by it, and I hope that there's less earthquakes. And basically, even before Venezuela, hello Maxine, how are you doing? Even before Venezuela, near Antiguan Island in the Eastern Caribbean, there was a 6 point something earthquake. No, I think a 7 point something earthquake in the ocean. And then, oh yeah, thank you for the hearts, Abigail. And then also near Cuba, there actually was a very strong earthquake. And then the next week, or a couple of days later, Venezuela had their earthquake. Okay, and then also on Monday, we started to get a lot of Sahara dust in St. Kitts. It comes from the Sahara region of Africa, and it travels all through the Atlantic Ocean, and it's still a lot. It actually helps less weaken hurricanes, but it actually is not good for people with asthma and allergies and sinus problems. And basically, my cousin, she actually had to go to the doctor for a respiratory infection from it. She said even her heart started to hurt her, and she had to get tons of medication to treat it. Like she got at least 6 different pills, and then the doctor also told her she has to go and get even more pills for something else. And I think that it was high blood pressure, and she was really sad because she went to the doctor on her birthday on July 1st. So that's not good. And she told me, I didn't even realize, she told me that actually every single year she gets a respiratory infection because of the Sahara dust. So that's not good. And I don't watch football, but I kept checking the score for Brazil versus Japan. the football match, the FIFA football is it's also called soccer. So um I think Japan scored in the 29th minute, and then I was wondering if Japan was going to beat Brazil, but then Brazil scored in the 56th minute of the game, and then for a very long time nothing happened, and then near the end of the match Brazil scored another goal. So that was really cool. Um, so yeah, and I also watched a video from. Oh, you don't care about football? I don't really like football that much, but I've been checking the scores this World Cup, and I love the match with Cape Verde versus who was it now? Cape Argentina. That was a really fun match to watch. Yeah, so Trevor Noah was disappointed um that some kind of sports, like I think they make football games, and since 2018 they have not updated the countries, like the list the European countries as default countries to play with. But he was saying that other countries around the world are better in football now, and the game shouldn't really be like that anymore. I also saw that Morocco beat the Netherlands, and a lot of people were upset because Europe is not doing that great. And I think another country actually beat another European country too. So it's different. So I actually like when the World Cup, when different sporting events, I love when countries far away from each other and very different from each other. I love when they play each other because I think that it makes the sport interesting. So yeah. And then I watched another episode about Meet the Mitchells, and basically their daughter, she finished preschool and now she's doing summer school. Like I guess it's gonna help her transition into to pre-kindergarten, because she says she's shy and stuff like that, so it's gonna help her in the year. And then all the children finished. One of them finished first form, which is grade 7. I think one is going to grade 3 or 4, something like that. The one graduated from kindergarten. So that's really cool. And I learned that one of their children, he's actually great in math. He got awards for math. And speaking of awards, I was checking TikTok the other day, and his father was showing that his daughter won 16 awards. She got 14 trophies and 2 certificates for graduating grade 6, and she got placed into the high school that she wanted to be in Jamaica. That's a really big thing in Jamaica. Students have to compete in grade 6 for different high schools. They have to put down, I think, their first to third high school that they would want to go to, and then they have to do the exams, and if they actually do well they get to go into the better schools. So yeah, that's how it is in Jamaica. So yeah, it's very interesting. Like I also like to look up different stuff about children. Like I only half kind of want one, and I already have the money for it, but I like to look up like children shows and how to take care of them and pregnancy and stuff. And I've been learning tons of different things. I know that when the child is 18 months, that's when they actually can start watching television and stuff. And I think it's only supposed to be 1 hour a day, and they only want it to be educational content. So yeah. Let's see. Okay, so one of my mom's friends, which is my godmother, they posted some pictures of the English football team, which is the soccer team, and she was showing that most of the black players on the team, they have Jamaican heritage. Either the parents or grandparents are Jamaican. And I thought that was cool to know one of the players. He's half from St. Kitts too, so that's what I like about it. St. Kitts Nevis. So, but Jamaica didn't make it to the World Cup, but there tons of them are on the English football team. So I'm guessing that it's just basically that England has better training and more competition in football. So that's cool. Yeah. So yeah, but I'll still say I don't really like watching football that much, but the Cape Verde versus Argentina match was fun. And I think it's called Cabo Verde in Portuguese. Okay, so I checked the score for the USA. They beat Bosnia and Herzegovina in a football match, and they advanced to the top 16, and the score was 2-0. So every now and again I glimpsed the match, and I thought it was really cool that the USA made it to the top 16 because that would get more views. So basically, more advertisers would make money, and more television subscription people and online subscriptions, they would make they would make more money because more people from the USA would be interested. And my dad was saying the reason why the USA is doing so well now is because they finally started to let people who have parents from the USA play on the team. So before they weren't doing that. Other countries do that. If you have a parent from the country or a grandparent, they let you to be on their side. Like for example, St. Kitts Nevis, that running track and field, they get people whose parents are from St. Kitts Nevis, but they don't actually they weren't actually born and raised in St. Kitts and Nevis, so that's cool. Oh yeah, and once a month I get some French vanilla ice cream or vanilla ice cream, and it's really fun. Um, it's really cool, and I don't know what kind of ice cream you guys like, but French vanilla is my thing. And I was wondering if it has something to do with genes because I'm supposed to be around a quarter% French, so I'm guessing maybe French vanilla ice cream has been made for centuries or something. I have no idea. I didn't go and read the history about French vanilla ice cream. So also we go walking for exercise, and I usually go 3 to 4 times a week, and then on Fridays sometimes I do strength training instead with a dumbbell workout. And basically I read that walking actually reduces your insulin or something like that. So it helps with the ice cream I'm eating. Walking would lower the insulin. But what I learned, and I didn't know it, like it doesn't matter how big you are or something like that. Once you exercise, like for example, walking an hour and 10 minutes 4 times or 3 times a week, once you exercise, you lower your chance of getting polyps in your colon. And my father actually, he got colon cancer some years ago, but he was able to catch it early and treat it effectively. So that was good. So, and I usually love to try to eat like a fruit or vegetable with every meal because I want to get fiber in my colon. Yeah, so that's what I want to prevent. And also they said alcohol is a carcinogen. So I'm guessing many people have cut back the amount of alcohol they drink, but some people just love it and they have fun, and people can do what they want with their life. Like some people just like to have fun with those kind of things, and then when they're suffering and like maybe they get cancer or something from that, they just say, I guess I think there's a thing that they can deal with it. I'm not sure, but yeah. Yeah, so another next thing, I also learned that even though frozen vegetables are extremely nutritious, if they're not cooked extremely well, when you're pregnant, you actually can get listeria. I didn't even know that. I thought that frozen vegetables were the best kinds of vegetables. I thought that you get the most nutrients from them, but no, they say you have to cook them extremely well in pregnancy. And then I also learned that canned vegetables, they're pre-cooked, so you don't even have to warm them up if you don't want to. And the best thing to do is to eat the no salt added ones or the low sodium ones. And also, I guess for the other ones, you can actually get rid of the liquid in there, and you can wash the vegetables and get rid of all the salt and sugar and whatever else that's on there. But I guess some people will just get the low salt ones. Yes, I usually read different things about children. Like I was researching fruit trees that I could plant in my garden. Like if I get a house, I was planting fruit trees. I'm researching because some places in St. Kitts they make fruit trees at different sizes, and you can get one that is somewhat grown already, and you can let them plant it in your yard and stuff. And there's actually one of those places down the road. So it's not only fruit trees, they have plants, flowering plants and stuff like that. So that's cool. And then I also watched um, another episode of Meet the Mitchells again. They got rid of one of the dogs. The dog is called Millie. The dog was too energetic for them, and the dog used to try to run away in the street all the time. So they rehomed the dog, but they said that it wasn't fair to the dog and them for them to keep the dog. But they found somebody else who took the dog, and they said the dog even went to a tennis tournament. So it's cool, yeah. And Wayne and Tommy was saying that as you get older, it's harder to lean back in a chair. Like you feel more tired, and she was acting out exactly what happens. Okay, so let me see what else to speak about. Oh yeah, so now for the Argentina versus Cape Verde match. So Cape Verde did a lot more better than I expected. It's called Cabo Verde, I think, in Portuguese. And basically, Argentina scored 3 goals and Cape Verde scored 2 goals. I thought Cape Verde was gonna lose by at least 3 goals at the minimum, and maybe most likely gonna lose from 6 goals to 0. But they actually frightened Argentina multiple times, and Messi looked really scared. So I think that people are gonna remember Cape Verde for a long time, especially Argentina. They're gonna be talking about how Cape Verde nearly beat them, and Cape Verde, they have somewhat over 500,000 people, so their population is a lot smaller than Argentina, and they still did so well. I was trying to tell my mom that Cabo Verde is the Jamaica of football, because Jamaica does well in track and field with a small population, and Cape Verde actually is doing well in football, and Cape Verde has even less population than Jamaica. So imagine that. So yeah. So, and I was saying that many of the players on Cape Verde, they're probably gonna get signed bigger contracts in like different European leagues, and they're going to make a lot more money and get more practice. So yeah. And then the last match I watched, I didn't watch. I scored the last match. It was France beat Paraguay by 1-0. I'm guessing that Kylian Mbappe scored. So that's all the football I watched today. Actually, no, I'm gonna go sometime today. I'm gonna watch some of the final of the women's T20 Cricket World Cup. I think Australia is playing England. The West Indies women, I checked the score some days later on Tuesday. I think they lost to Australia or something, but at least we made the semifinals. So we either came third or fourth in in the Cricket World Cup. So that's cool. I actually think the goal of going to a World Cup is to get its place at least in the middle, not in the lower half of the World Cup. So yeah, yeah. So recently I was researching children's shows. Like I was searching shows where children can look at human faces and emotions, and I saw Miss Rachel was one, and they were saying Sesame Street was kind of one because they bring real humans sometimes on there. And I also was searching pediatrician recommended shows. I looked at shows from 0 to 4 years old. I didn't really look at the older ages yet, and I started a new board on Pinterest. So basically, I saved Miss Rachel, Number Blocks, Sesame Street, Bluey, and some other things like Doc McStuffins. So I was looking at stuff that's available on Disney Plus and also on YouTube. So that's cool. So yeah. Um. So, what have you guys been doing this week? What's up with you? Something I just remembered. I was just scrolling somewhere, and one of my mom's friends says that some fireworks set fire to the Brooklyn Bridge. I'm not sure how serious it is because I didn't click on it to look at it yet. But that's crazy. The Brooklyn Bridge is on fire. Hopefully, it's a small section, and it's not a huge section that the Brooklyn Bridge is on fire. So yeah. I think right now in Nevis, the other island, they're having a mango festival. I think they make tons of different food dishes and other stuff with mango, and they let people taste it. I guess for tourism, they try to get people to come to Nevis. So it's very interesting what they're doing over here. And also, what I love about the Eastern Caribbean, every year the countries have been trying to have an Afro festival so people can come with their natural hair out. And that's what I love about it. So you can see my natural. It's really short because I don't really care about my hair growing longer or anything like that. And I think it actually makes more sense because I've always minutely over 50% felt more male than female. I actually can only a little bit over half tell. So this actually makes a lot of sense. And a lot of people with autism and stuff, um, some of them are transgender or non-binary. And actually, a lot of people who are transgender also, they actually are also autistic or have autistic traits. So maybe it's how people's brains interpret the world and stuff like that. So yeah. And are any of you guys multi-sensory aphantasic or aphantasic? Aphantasia is when you don't have a mind's eye. It's when you close your eyes. And people, for example, tell you to imagine a horse. Most people can see the horse in their mind. And I actually can't do that. And also for other senses like taste, smell, touch, moving, I can't do any of that in my mind. Like for example, some people can imagine a smell, imagine a taste without smelling or tasting anything in real life. They can imagine feeling stuff on their skin. They actually can also imagine like moving, like hitting a cricket ball and stuff like that. So that's something. But I actually do have an inner voice and inner monologue. I can hear myself speaking in my mind constantly. So that's what I have. Yeah. So that's different. Oh, right now my mom is gone to Nevis. She's going to help musicians make money. There's this organization called the Eastern Caribbean Organization for Music Rights. And it's called Echo, and she helps like the songwriters and stuff make their money. So that's really cool what she's doing. She's fighting for that, and she's actually a really good musician. Like she doesn't have a lot of music online, but she has many songs, and she put a few of them online on this channel called Beat Sugar. It's BeatShogh, Beat Sugar. I also put it on my YouTube page up to the top. So if you click it, she has some songs there, and she also has some beats there, and that's cool. Like her name is Grace Richardson, and I think she has 2 songs also on Spotify. So that's great. She's all about music because she's able to make music in FL Studio, and she can play the guitar, and she's good at singing. So she's like a musical person. But none of her children are really like completely musical. I think my brother can make a song in FL Studio. I think he did it once, but we don't really like singing karaoke or anything like that. Like she loves to entertain the crowd, so that's cool. But she's actually an extrovert too. I'm introverted, but she's an extrovert, so she loves to go to karaoke all the time. Like she goes to like 4 or 5 different karaoke's in St. Kitts, and she goes out with different friends, and they go from karaoke to karaoke, and that's really cool. Yeah. I also saw that Jamaica is gonna raise its minimum wage, but I don't really think that it's enough money they're gonna raise it by. But I was asking Google AI why, but they were saying the government has to balance the economy, but I still think that is way too low. And what I learned also, some states in the USA they were voting if they should change the minimum wage from $7.25 to $15.55 of the population actually voted no. And I was so shocked because people in the USA they keep on complaining that the landlords keep on raising the amount for rent, and I'm like, I am so surprised that they don't want to increase the minimum wage, but I guess they got what they wanted, so that's cool. Oh yeah, all this sad news. My cousin, like my dad's first cousin, her father died in England some days ago, and because of the heat wave that has been happening in Europe, they have to wait until like July the 30th to bury him. Like so many extra people have been dying from the heat wave. Like I heard that France was over 100 degrees Fahrenheit for tons of days, and France was hotter than 98% of the world. Like I even watched a video with this guy. He put this frying pan on the ledge outside, and he was cooking eggs, making bacon, and he even was able to pop some popcorn on his frying pan he put outside. So that's crazy. And many people, I'm sure it's true or not because I didn't watch the videos myself, but many people were saying, some Europeans were saying they don't need aircon, but they probably definitely do need to start using aircon now if they get hot heat waves often and people are dying. And my father was saying like older people, many of them, they actually are probably dehydrated. No one is checking up on them to make sure that they drink like water and electrolytes in the heat. So that's not good at all. Yes, oh yes. So I was saying that my my cousin, she has to go to her father's funeral. Her father was always in and out the hospital, and then one time then he was in a coma, and then now he's died. So she's a very nice lady. She used to be a nurse, and she's very kind to everyone, and she always tells everyone uplifting messages like quotes and stuff like that. So that's really cool. And one of her sons is autistic, but he's doing really well. And I also have some autistic traits, but I'm doing okay, but I'm not doing great. Like at manifesting money and stuff like that. Like right now I do work, but I don't get paid a lot. But at least my social security gets paid. And I have to figure out how I'm gonna pay taxes for the USA because no, um, my employer told me to put on self-employed instead of working for them. And I learned that if you're self-employed in the USA and you make 400 US dollars or more, you actually you actually have to pay self-employment tax or something like that plus regular tax. So then when you're finished you pay like double the amount of tax, and it's like over 30 something percent tax. So that's crazy. So I didn't even realize that people, when they're self-employed or start to make their business, they get taxed extra money for trying to take care of themselves. I was like, what? That's crazy. But I guess I'm learning more things about the United States every day. So yeah, I actually think the US is a hard country to live in. Like some people love being there, but I don't like the roads. They're too dangerous, and then the driver's license test, they're too easy to pass many places. So many people don't even want a driver's license and they can't drive, but they have to buy a vehicle because most places you cannot get anywhere without driving. So it's crazy, man. And then some people in the USA just shoot people. It's too crazy. And then the weather, some people they have to deal with winter all the time. But I was thinking more people like the winter than if they have to drive. Like for example, New York City, many people walk. But then the rent in New York City is like double the amount of money you have to pay compared to other places. So yeah, but I love Sank. Sank is cool. I just need to manifest money. I've been praying and praying and trying different things, and it's working out better this year than before, but it's not been completely great or anything. So yeah. Okay, well, other than that, I love being part Jamaican. I love being part from St. Kitts, from Nevis. I love that further on in history. Jeans are from St. Bartholomew, and then also Anguilla and some Montserrat. So I love the Leeward Islands in the Caribbean, and I love Jamaica, and I love the fact that Jamaica is so far away. Like when you have parents from different countries that are further away from each other, you get to understand different cultures more, and you understand that everyone is not the same and every place is not the same, but they do have like half similarities, and I think that's what makes life beautiful. I'm not saying that everyone should, but it's great when people from different cultures get children, and they don't even have to be different races or anything. They could just be like from a white person in a country, that's married to somebody in a way further away country. That's white. Like, so for example, like a white South African, they marry a European, or like an American, they marry a European or something like that. I think that is really great, and it makes the world interesting, and that's cool. Anyway, so I hope that you guys have a great day. That's all that really happened this week. And I hope that your day goes well and your next day goes well. And I hope that if you're in the USA, you enjoy your independence time and everything goes well with you. Bye.